Great Scott!
Great Scott indeed. And lucky me, because it seems that my M3 here has a 2.5 liter racing engine block. And as a petrolhead, I'm sure you all know that the BMW e30 M3 has been celebrated the world over for its racing pedigree, driving dynamics and design. But did you also know that only the latest and greatest version, the Sport Evolution, came with a 2.5 liter engine block? So when I bought this car from an online auction, sight unseen, and went to pick it up from Sweden, immediately I realized that the car was highly modified. And today we'll be finding out just how much. So today we are disassembling the S14 engine from its accessories, wires, hoses and belts to get a closer look, and don't be surprised to see a long list of power modifications. There's a full recap of our findings at the end of this video, but stay tuned because we're dropping juicy bits along the way. So welcome to Outpost Garage. My name is Panu and today we're making car dreams come true. Oh, my home is at the Balkans. Can I get away? Or? Hi and welcome to Outpost Garage. My name is Panu and in this episode we're continuing the restoration of my e30 M3, which I bought from an online auction, sight unseen. And in this episode we are continuing in a way that we are taking off all the accessories, wiring harnesses, hoses, fittings, clamps and so on, so we can get a better look at the engine and start ordering new parts, refurbishing old ones and put it back together at some point. So let's get started. Let's start by detaching all the electrical components and wiring harness. This should be quite quick and straightforward. So far, we haven't had a bolt that didn't come off quite easily. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes of this restoration project. And so this is the original wiring harness, and this there was no original ECU. We had this ECU master thing, which part of the wires in this original wiring harness was connected, made it this mess, and some of the wires were new and recovered, or whatever. And yeah, so but new wiring harness coming from a Finnish company, hopefully, who will do all the programming and they will provide the ECU as well. Yeah. Cheerio. The wiring harness was not a surprise at this point, but it still does instill a few giggles. To make reassembly of the car a bit easier, let's take a couple of photos. This way we can remember how things go back together. So far I have taken around 400 photos. Hey. Personal space. Give me some trigger warnings before you're breathing down my neck. It's not weekend yet. Party at the PDDs are over.
Starting a party at like midnight.
That's a different type of party.
Anyways, I have organized all the nuts, bolts and brackets by putting them on top of a whiteboard and writing where they go and what to do with each component. Would I buy new ones, clean them myself, or send them to be zinc plated or powder coated and so on. Did we get all the electricals off? Oh, by the way, so it seems, first of all, this is not aligned and this is misaligned, a bit wonky. See here, it's not, this line is not straight. And so this piece of metal is bent. And as me and Kim were going through the schematics, it seems that this should be here. So someone misplaced these, put them the wrong way around. But we need to get a new one of these. We'll see if we can save this one. Right?
Yep.
All right. How do we, is there a tensioner for the belts? How do we get this off? There's no tensioner here. Oh,
This is
so we loosen this up, so this will move and it will loosen the belts.
yeah. First you lose this bolt here, and then you
but
can turn this one.
Yeah, but I guess I need a thing to turn it.
No.
By hand.
No, of course no.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, so I can do that. Interestingly, this car does not have a spring-based belt tensioner, but a fixed and adjustable one. You turn a screw in a bracket that moves a corner of the alternator or power steering pump to change the position. This will then tighten or loosen the belt. Kinda smart, but I guess you need to adjust it every once in a while. Don't think this is going to matter in a Sunday car. Do leave a comment if you know when manufacturers switch to spring-loaded tensioners. So this just started moving and... Oh, let me do another round. Oh, bottom out.
Basically, you first lose this bolt also a little bit here.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
Because I was not working with that. Panu, what do you think when this car gonna be ready?
I'm kind of hoping that this would be ready next spring. Do you think that's feasible?
Yes.
Yeah. So we could get to go for a road trip next summer. You know, the wiring harness came off quite easily. How come I have a feeling that it should have been plugged in and attached and clamped up much better than it was?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it was just kind of hanging around a bit loose.
But it's quite simple wiring.
Yeah.
There is not so many.
But as we saw, there were like 2 fasteners behind the alternator that was just missing for the wires. And this has been just hanging around here for the... Yeah. Oh, alternator. Bearings, hey, these seem good. We might not need to buy a new alternator. But amazingly, for a new car, you can only buy a new alternator. But for this car, maybe for older cars as well, you can actually buy all sorts of replacement parts, like 20, 30 different parts for this alternator, so you can rebuild it, which is amazing, which unfortunately doesn't happen anymore. But the bracket is actually wrong. That's wrong. So I guess this was here. No. I've totally forgot which bolt went where already. But don't tell Kim. Yeah, I have to say the idea how to do the belt tensioning is quite good. What do you think, Kim? Because like modern cars have a belt tensioner, so like a spring-loaded belt tensioner, and here you can use the nut to, you know, move the position of this thing to get more tension on the belt. So what do you think, Kim? Is there a reason why they went from this to the other one? I guess you need to check this every once in a while and do it, because with the modern spring power tensioner, it's kind of automatically adjusts.
Yes.
So that's a plus point for the new one. Top tip.
And I have a story about that part.
You do?
Yes.
Let us hear it.
So we was making a trip to Finland to Austria.
Oh yeah, true.
And we was driving with e30 M3 to Autobahn, and suddenly all the lights went off and started blinking. It was midnight and the car stops. We was quite near to one gas station. We stopped there and there was some Albanian and some, I don't know how to say.
Shady people?
Shady people, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, let's take that Albanian away. Shady people in the gas station.
Too late.
And we asked help. That time I was 13, so I was not driving that car. And
whose car was it?
Basically, it's my car now.
Oh, so it was in your family?
No, no, it was my friend's father's car.
Oh, at the time, and then you bought it from him.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then you restored it, and hopefully you can see some pictures of his car in the videos.
But anyway, the guys in the gas station they was like really helpful, and they wake up some welder, and they fixed that part. So that bended broken.
Yeah,
I still have that part.
Maybe we can save some money and use that.
And remember, always when you have some tight nuts or something, remember keep a noise when you're removing. Like.
Did you see the latest episode from Throttle House about the new M5? I totally lost it when they said that they had they had a squirrel at the BMW development department.
So your last employee was a squirrel?
And then James went like, all of his ideas were nuts.
Yeah, he was amazing for this department. Every single idea he had was nuts.
Uh-oh. What's the service where you can take naughty pictures and videos of yourself and have people pay. Yeah, this is not an OnlyFans channel, man. Well, if the car thing doesn't, you know, if this doesn't work, I guess that we have all the camera and the space, so this will be OnlyFans. And the problem is that I think we need to change, you know, I'll work the camera and you work the crowd.
Why are you guys looking at me?
Hola! Power steering pump. Pump. Mr. Bean says pump. Ooh la la. Oi oi oi. Oi oi. Making a mess.
So next exhaust manifold is coming out. So we need to do a bit of a balancing thing. Should we maybe, if you do that, put something under here?
Or here.
Let me get some bits
But
and
this looks like super secure.
Pump.
What do you think? Maybe can we put some ice cream sticks there also? Support the engine.
Rakennetaan tää uusiksi tästä. Eiks niin?
Jesus!
Tää on muuten vähän...
Hey, keep it fast.
I thought you're a strong man. Noniin, laske alas. But we can use this
Yeah, of
pretty
course.
like, you know.
Keeping the engine weight.
Yeah. Do we need to lift this up a bit more?
I don't know.
Is the exhaust, is it still leaning on the exhaust?
Maybe.
Lift it up a bit.
But I think it's gonna be.
Yep, come down. Alright, and then we're gonna put this here. Nosta ihan vähästä. Joo.
This car has an original exhaust manifold and it came out quite easily. Working with a small inline-4 makes life quite a bit easier. You don't need to be a Superman to be able to tilt the engine for better access. After the exhaust manifold was out, we are taking out the rest of the coolant, hoses and pipes. Pipes will be sandblasted and powder coated,
Or we are not going to sandblast it, someone else will.
Yeah.
while all the rubber hoses and lines will be renewed with original BMW parts. Let's make sure this car is in tip-top condition for the next generation.
How many shims do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh my god. This is too maybe long, and that's why they need the shims.
Yeah.
That's
The funny thing is
that's
that
OEM plus for you guys.
Who rebuilt this
That's
engine?
Yeah.
A couple years ago. Probably gonna see this video.
Yeah, and there
And
should
he
be
thought that at that time that nobody gonna open this engine anymore.
Yeah, the next stop for this car would be the junkyard.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the prices went up. Here we are, and all his misdeeds are now public. So what we're talking about is a Swedish person, probably a man, probably white. well, everyone's white here, so they have the oldest stuff. So okay, so we're talking probably about a. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it was the company who did the whole thing. We've mentioned the name.
But we will find out.
At this point, I can safely say that this car really needed an engine out restoration. Many rubber lines and hoses were on their way out, some were broken and most fittings were either wrong or just missing. As a cherry on top, the starter motor was attached with the bolt too long that needed 4 shims to make it snug, and it was so loose that I could open it with my fingers. What a mess. Many consumables, such as gaskets and every rubbery part, will be replaced with a new part if any way possible. Any metal parts such as coolant pipes and brackets are not always available as new, or there might be a smarter way for restoring them. Aluminium parts will be soda blasted to look like new. Steel parts will be either zinc plated or powder coated, and some bits and bobs will just be cleaned by various methods. One method that seems to work is an ultrasonic cleaner.
I can still remember the times when I was just sitting at an office working on Excel. This is better. Though I need to see my chiropractor after this, but still. For beers. When you talked about the kit where the hoses come, do the clamps come with them?
Different kit.
But still, same
No.
question.
No.
No, so the clamps we need to get from the Germans.
Yes.
West or East Germany?
West German.
West German, yeah.
That's also.
If I didn't mention this earlier, when we were talking about the car or taking it apart, he actually mentioned like, is the part from East or West Germany? I was like, what is this? Didn't react to it. And sometime later, I actually was holding a part that said made in West Germany. So that was, I wouldn't say amazing, but like part of history and everything. World was a bit of a different place then.
As a quick history lesson, this car was made in West Germany in 1987. At the time, the Soviet Union had not dissolved and the Berlin Wall was still dividing Germany. It is remarkable to see these Made in West Germany markings, as it reminds us how the world has changed. As someone living next to Russia, I can only hope that Europe is not heading to that direction again. If you're watching this from somewhere west of Finland, well, lucky you, because me and my mates here have been hearing stories our whole lives about the war against the Russians, and we share almost 1,000 miles of border with them. Na zdorovye, comrades. My apologies for procrastinating a bit, but let's get back to the M3. Reading through this forum page from 2005 and 6, there are quite a bit of nuggets of information about this car. The following information is stated here by a previous owner. The car had 105,000 kilometers, or about 66,000 miles. By the way, the Swedes have a very funny way of talking about mileage. It is basically kilometers minus one last zero and the word miles added on top. But they also win every other Eurovision Song Contest, so it's hard to argue with them. At this point, the valve heads and other bits have been ported, and it says that the chassis had some BMW Group N parts such as camber plates, springs, shocks and bushings. These BMW Group N racing parts were not present when I bought the car. It is mentioned that the Evolution 2 exterior bits were already on the car, and also maybe a different driver's seat. Some of these mods are still with the car, but not all. From these pictures we can see a roll cage, different wheels, and inside the engine bay, the radiator is different, but the strut brace and carbon airbox are still with the car. It also seems that the car had 2 washer fluid tanks back then, and an acoustic mat on the hood. These days there is no acoustic material on the hood and only 1 washer tank. The brake fluid reservoir was already repositioned because of the bulkier airbox. The takeaway is that the car has not been driven that much in the last 20 years. Only around 17,000 kilometers or 10,000 miles. In this picture you can see the glove compartment was not a total mess at this point. Even after some mods, the car seemed to be in better condition in these pictures. So I would say that a lot of terrible things, especially the wiring harness, happened after this owner. The owner is also talking about an Alpha N ECU tune. This was obviously changed between then and now. The previous owner also talks about rebuilding the engine, but without specific details about the build.
So I would say that taking things apart is fun and quite fast, and the thing that I enjoyed the least is figuring out which parts to order and then contacting suppliers and subcontractors and everything else. But then when we have everything here, I would assume putting things back together is more difficult but fulfilling nonetheless. So we'll do a deep dive on the internals of the car, but I was pointed to a forum by a previous owner, and using the whatever translator in the browser, it seems that this engine at least has ported heads, but wasn't sure which camshafts or yeah, the thing here that spins everything. Because while changing this thing, you can change the displacement from 2.3 to 2.5 or 2.7 or even 2.9, I think. So I'm sure it has been changed to at least 2.5. What we have no facts or anyone stating that or receipts or anything. But yeah, it is stated that the heads are ported, but I'm pretty sure this is pretty heavily built engine.
Here's a trigger warning for you guys. We totally misread the big bolt at the end of the water pump. You live and you learn.
Kim, any ideas? I did order the thing to hold this like so for the for the M5. That should work here as well, but it's not here today. Well, what if I unbolt this? I would put something in there. Oh, you mean take them a bit out and... You're gonna hold that? Yeah. Call 911.
Out. But I think just remove these. I'm not 100% sure, but...
Let's try that.
Ymmärrätkö pitää? No on helppo.
Guten untight. All right, so no need to...
No.
Cool beans.
So now the water pump is broken.
Is this a balance?
Balance, yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
It sounds like a car wheel. So we can just scrape that off and...
I'm not sure why.
Why does this have this thing?
Yeah.
If this is like whole unit. Maybe if you want to take it apart. Would the fan be here?
The visco, yeah.
So, okay, if there was an additional viscous coupling something fan on top of the... come on. So it would be here. But the E30s have an electric fan mostly, I think. So, all right, where are we at now? Let's take a step back and admire what we have accomplished here. So throttle bodies are still coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And on this side, blah, we have the exhaust is off, or the water piping is off. I guess these are coming off. We have a camshaft positioning sensor or something to replace it somewhere else. And this is coming off. That's the distributor something. And it will be replaced with what? So the original spark distributor will be, which is like the rotating thing, will be replaced with a what sort of gizmo?
Suora sytytys.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it.
Direct injection.
Direct.
Yeah. Not injection, that's direct
Igniter.
spark something. We'll write it on the screen. That was Kim. Water pump.
Voisi tästä ottaa hidastaa?
Kim, it is already slow motion. Everything is already so slow motion. People are just falling asleep.
No.
I'm pretty sure this is not gonna go on. Lunch. Right, so while he's trying to figure out how to take the throttle body out, so this is what we have already here. Original exhaust manifold, we need some new gaskets. We'll see if we get that powder coated. Would look nice. The accessory belts, two new of course. Water pump pulley, or the metal thing, we'll get that painted as well. All the wiring new, please. And this ignition system will be replaced with a more modern one, says Kim. And let's do that. Maybe the car runs better, gets more power, is more easier to program for. This is transmission bushings. We get that cleaned and blasted, and new bushings. Water thermostat, that the whole housing and thermostat that will be replaced. Power steering pump, we'll probably use that, and alternator, which is here. But we don't need new, but new starter, please. Clean that. We'll blast all these pipes, all the rubber hoses, new. And here we have the injectors, fuel injectors, and the rail, and we'll get this tested. There was some rust or oxidation in one of the connectors, which is of course not good, and we'll see if these work great. Can we just use them, or do we get new ones or anything? But yeah, lots of kind of consumable stuff that needs to, I should replace with new parts. So whoever owns this car next will maybe have to do a restoration, but that should be hopefully somewhere in the far future.
Kyllä se nyt aika hyvin tuossa tuppoo tästä kulmasta kyllä. No, onko aika tiukalla? engine.
Someone used some gasket sealant
RTV,
stuff, RTV or something.
RTV, yeah. But we gonna put new gaskets.
We can take a look at the valves from here. Sweet.
Varoittelen, älä kahden kädellä. Se menee kahtiin.
But this is actually two pieces connected from the road here. Oh, these actually look not West Germany made, but man-made.
Kansi on tehty.
So you can see someone went in there with some sort of tool and zoom. We can see that's probably the same.
Ported.
Yeah. So porting means making these airways bigger and the surface is more smooth for the air to pass more efficiently.
More power.
More power. Show the camera. He's bagging the tools as well.
Yeah.
All right. So, but this is two pieces of one gasket, the big rubber pieces. So we get. But are these OEM or are these like different, like higher, or do these have like a BMW logo somewhere?
They look OEM.
They look OEM. But is there a reason to have that these would be a bit higher or lower than the OEs? Is it possible that these are made to contour with the new ported surfaces? You don't know. I thought
You're asking very difficult questions.
So the question is, if you know, please comment. Do let us know. Is the rubber gasket standard or not, or is it maybe thicker in this way? And does this look like it was made to contour the ported throttle body and the head? We don't know. All right. So after consulting with my spirit guide, it seems that these parts, the throttle bodies, are quite standard in the sense that you could have an M3 or an M5 or some other inline 6 or S14, and the way you would fasten these would be the same. So you could basically interchange them. So in some cases, people have used larger ones that breathe better from an M5 in a S14 or maybe another inline 6 of the time. So next up we'll check the part numbers and see if are these original to the S14 or bigger ones from another engine. All right, so we definitely have ported heads, meaning that these have been machined after the fact, after the West German factory. And the valves seem quite clean, considering it's a 40-year-old car, almost. Not fan of the RTV for the gasket, and it's quite dirty here. So we actually need to make sure that nothing gets in there. But yeah, so far so good with the engine, I think.
While filming this episode, I have agreed upon a solution for this car's injection and spark systems. I will talk about these in detail once we get there, but in short, this car will get some new and more modern fuel injectors and spark system. The old ones were Racetronic Delphi's, which I was told are on the cheaper side, as Bosch being the original manufacturer, but I'm not sure yet which ones the engine builder will choose. I would trust his judgment. He has been racing E30 M3s for some 20-30 years. The spark system will be renewed to a straight spark coil, which will make the power distributor obsolete. All this and some programming should make the car inject fuel to only one cylinder at a time and spark 2 cylinders at a time. Once I learn more about this, I will let you know. Nevertheless, very interesting stuff.
So what a road to discover this has been. Of course, there might be some rust issues up ahead, but I think this might be a solid buy. Of course, an unmodified, low mileage, one owner M3 would be perfect, but this is what you get when you're shopping for old cars online on a Friday night.
So let's summarize what we have learned. As we already know, the car came with a carbon airbox with no proper filter, an aftermarket exhaust, a modified final drive and a programmable ECU. Now that we have the engine stripped from its accessories, hoses and wires, we can learn quite a bit more about the engine. After a quick scrub of the engine block, we can see 3 things. 1. The engine block paint is quite fresh, telling that it's not original to this car. 2. There is no serial number on it, just a blank area. And 3. One product number that might tell us what it actually is. Hopefully a 2.5 liter engine block. Now this would be a big win. I'm not sure 100% if this is a exact Sport Evolution 3 2.5 block, but if it's just a 2.5 then close enough. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about these things. And if I ever need to sell this baby, I would assume a 2.5 block would be a big highlight. And yes, one can increase the displacement with a longer stroke by changing the crankshaft piston and connecting rods. I'm sure that other internal components are also modified, at least the cams. Only God and whoever built this engine knows for sure. The valve heads and throttle bodies have been ported for improved airflow. The throttle bodies seem not to be original but from another BMW. Can you help me figure out which BMW? See the product number here. These might have been manufactured in November 1986. The guy who's doing the wiring harness can hopefully do some measurements to see what the length of the piston movement is. As you can also see, the valves are quite clean, which is yet another indication of a rebuilt engine. Considering that the final drive has been changed for faster acceleration and that the engine has been properly built, I'm hoping for this car to be one quick M3.
In the next episode, we are taking out the suspension, subframes and differential, so make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future adventures. Thank you for watching. Anyways, the world over, but alusta. Miten tää menee näin vaikeaksi? Me, because the box for the TV is so big. Anyways, and from yeah, can you imagine like this whole operation just became so much more difficult because we want to do a 1 second zoom in. And lucky me, because okay, I can see that something is happening there. All right. And lucky me, because it seems that wires, hoses, yes. Sorry, forgot the line already. But this is what you get when you're shopping for Japanese manga online on a Friday night.
What did he say?
Mikä se kolmas?
Very nice.
His name is John.
Very nice.